Why would you want a valuable business? You're joining us today, so there's a reason you're joining us. Why is that? Think in your mind's eye, make a couple mental notes to yourself. Why would you want a more valuable business? What's in it for you? Take a minute. So if you ask one of our many owners over the years, you get a variety of answers to that. A recent client of ours, to them, it would be multiple generations legacy for the business. They want a Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4 business that they can pass down to future generations, and a valuable company gives them that option. In some instances, it's owner freedom. We've had clients of ours, owners who've been, quote, a prisoner of their business for many years, and they know a valuable, healthy business gives them the freedom to have a larger life outside of work. For some of our clients, it's job security for them, for their loyal employees, for the team that's helped them get to this point, and for their own family and relatives who are a part of the business. And lastly, some of them, it's about building a more valuable asset for when it comes time to transition out of the work world and move into that next chapter of their lives. So the valuable business gives them a lot of different options depending on what's important to the various owners. My name is Chad Haldeman, Senior Business Advisor with the Resultants. We are a business advisory. We were founded in Hudson, Wisconsin. Hard to believe, almost 25 years ago. Next year will be our 25th anniversary. So we help owners, leaders, and their companies go further, faster. Our purpose is building great teams and changing lives. That's really what drives us, is the purpose of the company. That puts the quarter in us, so to speak, every day. We work with clients here locally in the Twin Cities metropolitan area, Western Wisconsin, but also now around the country. We have clients in a multitude of different markets around the country as well. So kicking things off here, I want to talk about what you can expect to learn today. 3 big things. One, what impacts the value of your business? What is that in terms of things inside the planning, the operation, the structure of your business that impact the value? 2, that not all growth is equal. We'll talk about that. Some growth is much more valuable than others. We'll talk about what that is and why. And number 3, for me, I like actionable things, actions you can take to drive more valuable growth. A couple simple things, hopefully some takeaways. You can come away from this interaction today and pull a lever, so to speak, of your business to drive more valuable growth. So what determines the value of a business? So really, a business value, as you can see on the screen, equals a function of EBITDA times a multiple, and the multiple is related to risk. EBITDA is an acronym. It's an acronym that stands for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Let's just conceptualize this in a simple way. Let's think of it as net income, net profit, the net of your company, times a multiple. And a multiple is really a direct relation to the amount of risk in the organization. Think of yourself as the buyer of a company. If you're looking down on a company that you're analyzing, the value of that company is really, to you, you're buying, investing in a future stream of cash. So the company is the net times a multiple, and the less risk in the company, the higher the multiple. The more risk in the company, the lower the multiple. So we work with clients using a tool I alluded to earlier called the Value Builder System. It's not theoretical. It's an algorithm based on 55,000 business transactions. And the Value Builder algorithm really identifies 8 drivers inside of any business, functions of risk and EBITDA, that provide us with specific actions we can take to pull the levers of the business to increase the value of the organization. So if we look at this, what does this yield us? An average multiple for a business today is about a 3.5. If we look across all these transactions, the average multiple seen across those 55,000 transactions was about a 3.5. So that's average. If you look at those companies in that sample size, those who had a value builder score of 90 or greater, so these drivers really showed that this was a strong, healthy company in terms of EBITDA and risk, achieved over double a multiple. So instead of a 3.5, it was a 7.1 multiple, getting double the value of the business by creating a more valuable company in specific and measurable ways. So what? So why should this matter to you? I'm a good Midwestern boy. I have a healthy skepticism of things like this, and it's great, Chad. So this algorithm, so the score, so what? I'm running this business day to day. What's what's in it for me? Well, I'm going to touch on what I mentioned to you earlier, is some of the answers that our owners give us all the time. One of the things, an actual example, is dry powder for the growth of the company. If you have a more valuable company, if you are in a free cash flow situation where your company is really a producer of free cash flow, you have dry powder for growth at the very least. At the very least, you're more bankable. So you're a healthier, stronger organization. Your lender is going to really appreciate that. Your cost of money may very well go down because of that. I think the accountability piece, a company that simply is strengthening the improvements, the systems, the processes that will drive down risk and improve the value of the company, it drives accountability in the organization. And that in turn will drive growth, will drive performance, will drive employee engagement. And then, like I said, legacy, the value of the asset of the organization, if you're looking for a transition, owner freedom. Chris and I have a client who, he and his wife have enjoyed a couple long vacations in Europe and elsewhere, because he's built a more valuable company with a leadership team that runs the company day to day, so he doesn't have to. So that's a so what for you as an owner that I think really could and should matter to you. So I want you to conceptualize something to me, with me. Really, it's the difference between how a manager looks at a business versus how an owner looks at a business. So we can conceptualize this in a manager versus owner metric. So I was a manager. I came up in business and I was tutored. I didn't go to business school. I was tutored by a large organization that I worked for. I was tutored by the corporate controller, by my general manager at the time. And the tool that I focused on was initially the P&L, profit and loss statement. So I was tutored on the P&L, and what are those factors that drive top line growth, that drive middle line expenses, that then yield a bottom line profitability, income before tax. So if you think about that P&L, that's a manager metric. That's running the business day to day. And if you think about those manager metrics, think of it in terms of a restaurant analogy. Those are the ingredients for what create a more valuable company. So the manager metrics, profit and loss, which is revenue, expense, net profit, those are the ingredients making a more valuable company. Those are the things we taught, we learned, running the organization, very much in the business, not an on the business metric, not an owner metric. Owners care more about what the ingredients make. So an owner isn't necessarily in love with top line growth if it doesn't drive the value of the organization long term. The owner really cares about what that net is, and even more so, what that value is. If we're creating short-term growth at the expense of creating a lot of risk for the organization, putting all our eggs in one basket, an owner's gonna, with an owner viewpoint, an owner mentality, an owner's gonna balk. at that. An owner's going to want healthy growth. We'll talk a little bit more about that. So let's talk about value. So here's a simple example for us to conceptualize what the value of our company is made up of. We talked about it's profit times a multiple. So on the top of this shows hypothetical company A, let's say your organization that drives just under $1 million in pre-tax profit on an annual basis, and an average multiple, because the national average is about a 3.5 multiple, yields us a value of about $2.8 million. So the change for us to conceptualize is that as an owner, looking at the value of the organization, looking at owner metrics versus just manager metrics, if we address profit, again, top line, middle line, that yields us a better bottom line, and we drive profit by $100,000, same multiple, we got a nice increase in value, $350,000, not an inconsequential amount. But look all the way to the bottom if, using the information gleaned out of the Value Builder system, we work with our owners and can address both EBITDA, pre-tax profit, and impact the multiple. So the example, if we can increase EBITDA by $100,000, but by using the Value Builder tools and information, we can impact the multiple, $900,000 times 7.1, $3.5 million in increased value. That is a significant game-changing number. Why do people care about growth potential? So when we think about growth potential, it is one of the 8 Value Builder drivers in the Value Builder system. Growth potential really is that future estimate of growth. I myself went through 5 different merger and acquisition events. I've been through more due diligence than any one person should be subject to. And I know for a fact that these acquirers of my organizations, plural, whether I was in a general manager chair or a sales leader chair, were very interested in not the trailing history, but also the future growth potential. So when they buy a company as an acquirer, they're writing a check. They're not buying the company for today's value. They're buying the company for what it can deliver to them, a future stream of cash, but the future value of the organization 3, 5, 7 years from now. So at the core of growth potential, we've got how easy or how difficult would it be to accommodate growth. So there's questions that feed this algorithm, this score for growth potential. And one of those is, if you woke up one morning and you had 5 times the number of customers lined up outside your door, how simple or how difficult would it be for you to accommodate that growth? Let's think about an average multiple in that 3.5 to 3.7 range for an organization. If it's really, really hard, let's say impossible for you to accommodate that kind of growth, you're going to take a ding. There's going to be a hit to your multiple. There's more risk in that. There's muted growth potential. If it's very easy for you to accommodate that growth, just flip a switch. You've got a software-driven organization or some way that it can accommodate that very simply, you're going to see a real benefit in that multiple. So an example, tangible example of an organization that's tough to scale, think about a professional services organization, a law firm, where you have to hire new attorneys, where it's very people heavy. A company on the other end of that spectrum that's real simple to scale and grow, think about maybe a software company, or it's based on technology, that it's just simply more customers, and the technology, the software, will spit out more product effortlessly. Another example would be a manufacturer. You've got this operation, it's just simply moving more sausage through the sausage plant, so to speak. So that kind of ability of how quickly and easily or how difficult it would be for you to scale your organization feeds into the growth potential. So not all growth is equal. So rate of growth equals increased value. During my career, a real smart set of suitors who ended up being owners really looked at segments of our business and focused on the segment that was much more repeatable, that was much less labor intensive, that was easier to scale, more reliant on technology than it was on people, that required less overhead to deliver, that we could easily ramp up and scale. And they de-emphasized parts of our business that had volatility, that were labor intensive, that required more significant overhead. So it's a future stream of cash. That rate of growth and the kind of growth also makes a difference. So we want to pull the levers of the business. What's the way that we can achieve growth? Well, it's really three ways: geographic, vertical, and horizontal. So if we think of that vertical growth, it's new products to existing customers. Simple example there, big company, Coca-Cola. So you got a Coke drinker, loves the taste of Coke, but doesn't want all that sugar. I know I love a good icy cold Coke. I don't appreciate all the sugar, so I don't drink as much of them as I used to. But they created a brand new product in Diet Coke as a way of a new product to that existing customer. And well, we know how big a brand Diet Coke is in the world today. So there's another way of achieving growth, entering new geographic markets. A little more complexity to that, some risk and some expense. But if you're entering a geographic market, like a lot of our clients, you're not having to replicate the operations of the business, the shared services of the business. Oftentimes, it's just simply opening a sales office and opening another small office in an organization that really can fold in seamlessly to the hub of a larger organization. Enter new demographic segments. So that's really the horizontal growth. So it's looking at new customers to buy our existing set of products. Maybe there's a different customer that can enjoy the value that a product or service gives them that we're not targeting today. So new to existing, new geographic markets, new demographic segments. So I want to give you a couple hard examples, companies that Chris and I work with today. So one is an insurance broker in a different marketplace, highly commoditized business. And they also have a lot of baby boomers who are retiring. So one of their strategies is around M&A. So they are engaging in merger and acquisition growth, where they're identifying in very strategically targeted markets that they're looking to get in, or that they're already in, practices, insurance practices that they can fold into their organization, people who are retiring. So they have already these channels, these existing customers, and in many instances, it's expanding that portfolio of existing customers to sell more of what they already sell to more customers. In another example, a little slightly different twist, one of our manufacturing and distribution partners, that it's in the healthcare supplements and healthcare devices and neck supports and braces, etc. They were looking at acquiring simple organizations, manufacturing entities that provided them new and different products to sell to their existing client base. So they were targeting small organizations that fit their healthcare market, that just simply was something that they could plug right into their offering of products to their existing client base and give their clients more offerings that they could stop and do business with them, make it a one-stop shop. Acquisitions along the way there, where this owner was wonderful at identifying these companies, folding them in and monetizing them, because it just gave his sales force an opportunity to sell more to those existing clients. Very efficient way to drive growth. Geographic expansion can be very effective as well, but think about that. There's investment and risk. There's complexity in the geographic expansion. So not a good or a bad idea, but again, not all growth is created equal. So what kind of growth plan makes sense for your business? What is it that you're going to do for your business coming away from this? So to answer that question, we have an offer for you. So the Value Builder process is something that you can engage in. It's something that can give you very simple, actionable things, a simple valuation, a benchmark, if you will, of your company, not meant to replace an actual company valuation, but it's a statistically proven benchmark that provides you with actionable things to build a more valuable company, to drive more valuable growth in your organization. So it takes less than 30 minutes to take the assessment. I'm going to show you a slide with a QR code you can scan, or we can get you hooked up with the assessment. And it will create a report. I'm happy to walk you through that report to identify where it sits today, how you compare against other companies, maybe some simple actions that you can take to improve the value of the organization. And why do we do this? Well, it's part of our business model. That's what we do. But why we do what we do is really the purpose. I mentioned early on in the presentation, we really believe in positively improving lives through business. And for owners and their families, and for the team members and employees of a company, this is a great way to do just that. You'll need access to your financial data. You wanna be able to reference things pretty quickly and easily. It's going to ask some questions around the history of your company. But if you're not comfortable yet taking the assessment and you want to learn more about it, to help you decide whether it's something you want to invest your time in and taking the assessment, you can just connect with me and I can talk you through what it is, talk about maybe some examples of owners and what they've done and how they've used it to make a tangible impact on their business. So you can hit the QR code to plug right into the Value Builder system, or like I said, you can connect with me. And this next slide that we're looking at right now is a QR code that will just download for you my contact information. No sales pitches. It's really just being of service. If you feel like that there's value in further conversation, so be it. But no strings attached here. Really appreciate you investing time out of your day today. I look forward to hopefully helping you decide what are those next steps in helping you create a more valuable company, helping you define valuable growth and what that looks like, so you can achieve that ultimate owner freedom, and that is having a valuable organization that gives you choices and options. Thanks for your time today, Chris, and I appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of your business day.